Astronomer R.C. Kapoor is now joining us. Thank you so much for your time. Talk to us a little about the significance of this very picture, this very visual, beautiful as it is, and clear too, very, very clear, of the exact moment when Pragyan leaves the lander Vikram there, which was attached to its belly, and the kind of work that it already is doing, sir.
Yes, it's the most beautiful visual you have presented here. And I think the cutest vehicle of India, Rover, is coming down the ramp. And I think our automobile industry can take a cue here. I think it's the most wonderful video. You can see the marks it is making as it is moving further. So as I hear, ISRO has activated all the instruments on lander as well as on the rover. So they are going to make a study of the moon as long as the sun is up there in the sky of the moon. So it's about the surface composition, it's about the interior of the moon, and of course the very, very thin atmosphere which we call exosphere around the moon, which is of charged particles and whatever radiations that come and fall on the moon's surface, and they eject the electrons and you have some ionized matter floating around. So that is to be studied. So as long as the sun is up there, these two laboratories are going to collect data and transmit eventually to ISRO's base stations in Bangalore and elsewhere. And lander and rover, they have a communication between them. Lander is communicating to orbiter 2, and from orbiter 2, all the data, all the images will be transmitted to stations in Bangalore.
What's most fascinating really is this. Yes, I'm just stunned because these images are just so beautiful and so clear. It's surreal, isn't it? So what do you think of it? I mean, the clarity, unimaginable. These pictures, it's hard to believe that this is the moon that we are talking about.
Oh, certainly, yes, because you see, it's all very gray. And you are seeing the colored images. So, and moon surface is like that. Its reflectivity is much lower compared to the Earth, and we can call it very, very sort of grayish moon. And you see the solar panel also. It's up there in the rover.
Yes, you can see that.
And you can see the long shadows because the sun inclination is very low. At the time when landing took, sun's inclination was about 9 degrees or so at the site of the landing. So you can see how long are those images and the shadows and it's side the sun's rays are falling and everything goes very well.
Okay, just explain to me. Is this you are saying that the shadows are on our screens, but what time would this be approximately?
Yeah. See, I calculated that 1 meter will, a rod which is 1 meter tall will give about 7 meters long shadow. And by now, the sun is still higher up. It takes about 6 hours for the sun to move 1 degree in the sky at that latitude. So you can imagine. And also, of course, Earth is there in the sky. Right now, we are not able to see, but sometime I think ISRO will release those images also, where the lander is seeing the Earth, and that will be most wonderful because at the time landing took place, moon seen from Earth was in the first quarter. Earth seen from moon will be in the last quarter. So that's how it is.
Yes. Also, I just want to get a sense from you about the very fact that how these are designed. Essentially, the lander and the rover are designed in such a way to operate for 1 lunar day, which is about 14 Earth days. ISRO will not be, in fact, having any contact with the rover at the time when the sun is down. Talk to us about how, though, rover and lander will continue to function even during this time.
Actually, ISRO is sure of the functionality of the instruments as long as the sun is up there. Then 14 and a half days of the night on the moon. And that, I think, begins on 4th September, and then next sunrise is 21st September or so. After the sunrise, as the sun goes a little high up, and ISRO is hoping that some instruments might work with extremes of temperature. So after whether the instruments withstand that and then and come back to life, that is a question. That by itself will be a major test of that during the sunlit days and in the unlit days. After that, what happens to the equipment? Although all the equipment is insulated using MLI, as they say, multi-layer insulators. So we hope that some instruments might work. Rover has two instruments. They are spectroscopes, and independently they take they study the composition of this lunar soil. One uses laser, the other uses a radioactive material, curium-244, and then eventually the results have to be quite similar.
Okay.
So, and lander also has 4 instruments, and it also has NASA's LRA, which is Laser Retroreflectors Array. It will stay, and it's a passive equipment, and it will stay even after the night and the day also comes. Even if the instruments don't work in lander or in rover, it's still there because.
So what I want to know from you is that essentially both Vikram and Pragyan have 14 days or so to do the work that is expected of them in terms of gathering the information and send this back to Earth. But this is a deadline that has to be met, and that is something that ISRO would be looking at very closely, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Because and actually this lander is being tracked by many space agencies, and then they are receiving signals. So independently they are doing that. That's right, because ISRO is in constant touch with the lander, and we hope that data starts flowing, and Indian astronomers and scientists will be able to make sense out of it.
Okay. Well, that's the hope. Fingers crossed. Things have been okay and things should move fine. I'm going to thank you so much for sharing your views with us. So Vikram and Pragyan are having just about 14 days or so. It's actually just 14 days before night falls on the moon. And that's when the work can't be done. And in terms of the information that's going to be sent back to ISRO, to Earth. And these are the days that both the Vikram and Pragyan, the lander and the rover, have to do to gather this information. After this, the rover may not be fully functional as there is no solar power, and we know that this is solar power that they are getting their energy essentially from.